Hello and welcome to Las Blancas podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Las Blancas. And this time we are going to be discussing our game against Levante, which we ended up winning. This is a Levante side that has just beaten Barcelona. So the mighty Levante of Liga F. Uh, not an easy task to beat them. Ask Barcelona. And we beat them with the same scoreline that they beat Barcelona with. I'll keep bringing this up because you don't get Barcelona losing every day. So yeah, but talking about the game, honestly, a pretty straightforward win against a side that is second from bottom at the end of the day. Uh, but yeah, an eventful first half, a dull second half. We'll get into all of that, but before that, Kanita, what's up with you? How you doing?
Yeah, we beat the mighty Levante. So
Yes.
far, we haven't had a single pod without mentioning the Barcelona Levante game. So yeah, this will be going on around a lot, in the future. We as a beating mighty Levante, which means we are better than Barcelona, obviously, by mathematical logic, guys. So yeah, I mean the first half was pretty fun. Well, yeah, and the second half kind of bored me, so that's how I'm doing after the game, you know. But yeah, and we're like in between the Real Sociedad games, and like in only this year, which hasn't been a lot, what, like a month and a half, not even that. We'll soon face them next for the third time. So yeah, we're in between Real Sociedad games as well. So I think this beating this mighty Levante will give us the confidence, for Real Sociedad, Copa de la Reina. Yeah.
So Sociedad and Madrid is the Chelsea and City for the WSL at this point, honestly. We are facing them in the domestic competitions. We are also facing them in the league. But yeah, I mean, an eventful first half in the way that there were all three goals of the game came in the first half, and second half was absolutely devoid of action, to be honest. Like we went into that uh, defensive mode where we want to protect that lead and we want to see the game through. A couple of missed chances here and there, but let's start by talking about the game by looking at the lineups. So it was interesting once again. As soon as the lineups came out, the immediate talking point was in defense once again, because it was uh, a change at left back. Left back. It was Yasmim starting at left back again in this game, which was good to see. It's a game like these that she can get some minutes and be incorporated because I think we are going to take Copa de la Reina a little more seriously to make a deep run in the competitions, and with the Champions League coming up as well. I think managing Olga's minutes after the sort of first half of the season that she has had is vitally important. So let's quickly go through our lineup. It was Misa in goal, Shayla starting as the right back, and we have discussed the right back situation at length in the previous pod, so we won't be getting into that. Shayla started as the right back in this game. Maria Mendez and Lakrar started as the centre back partnership with Yasmim accompanying them at left back. A double pivot of Angeldal and Tere with a front four of Linda Caicedo, Caroline Weir, Atenea, and Alba Redondo leading the line. So almost the first choice quartet in attack, without Brune, I would say. With Now, this is something that has happened in the last game and has continued in this game, which was Linda's positioning on the right hand side, whereas Atenea is given the reins on the left flank. uh, Before Atenea's return from the injury, it was the norm that Linda started on the left hand side, and she had developed this brilliant synergy with Olga on the left hand side, and we are drifting to that side as well. But since Atenea's return, uh, Toril has tried to find that dynamics on either flanks and has put uh, Linda Caicedo to play on the right hand side, which will we'll get into that as we break down the game. But what were your initial reactions when you saw the lineup?
Yeah, I saw three changes in defense, and I was like, yeah, obviously, why wouldn't he make three changes in defense? I mean, yeah, at this point, it's yeah. Ever since Yasmim debuted, we've been having these three defensive changes. Usually was only two, a center back and the right back. So now we have three guys. Great. One more spot opened up to rotate. Yeah. And yeah, the Atenea, oh my God, Atenea and Linda thing, they yeah, they started like this. Linda on the right, and it was mostly like this that they played. But sometimes they would switch, and I was live tweeting that game, and I was like, yeah, a likely thing for them to be doing to switch positions. And it was also noticeable, like the first half. Well, the first half is mostly what where I get my conclusions from. But um, I know that when they switched sides, and Atenea was on the right, with Shay there on that flank. I've seen like a lot of communication problems with Shay. Like Shay had to explicitly show Atenea, and or Atenea wouldn't see Shay, wouldn't know that Shay would go a bit up and wouldn't see her even like a couple of meters away from her. And she would just pass back. So it's like she didn't know what Shay was even supposed to be doing there. But yeah, it was kind of frustrating to watch that like right flank when they switched. But it's normal. I mean, they didn't start like this. They kept switching like every maybe 15 minutes or something. So yeah, but it's not like a really big thing. It was just this frustrating part about the switching sides, and yeah, aside from that, pretty standard, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, uh, you bringing up this switching thing is also uh, quite important. I feel because if you look at our team shape, and unfortunately, I don't have a whiz for this, but if you look at our team shape as well, it's quite narrow from the attack, because I don't mind the in-game switching thing because I think that keeps the opponent on their toes as well. Because if a left back is comfortable defending and a winger that is of Athena's style, a direct who will go at you, then putting somebody like a Linda who will draw you out and who will wait for support and cut in that manner will challenge them more. So I'm fine with that. But yeah, what you mentioned did happen a lot, and we could see that in the average position of our players as well in attack. But honestly, like first half was where the entire game was basically played. We looked better in attack. We created a lot of chances. I think we had some 13 odd shots in the first half, compared to just the seven in the second half. So second half, the onus was on Levante to try and score another goal, to try and find that equalizer. Whereas we were comfortable with defending deep, and we were comfortable with not pressing as much because the possession split in the second half was also very even. It wasn't like we were dominating with the ball, which was the case in the first half. We were keeping the ball a lot more. We were keeping the ball higher up in their half, and I think in the second half that also changed a little bit because game state effect. I would say. But yeah, let's start by talking about the goals that happened, right? Let's talk about our goals, then we'll discuss the Levante goal, which isn't actually a goal because it was a set piece goal. We'll discuss that, uh, and then we will get to what Levante were actually trying to do in with their shape and with their positioning. So we scored two goals in the first half, and that came from a Caroline Weir penalty and an Alba Redondo goal, which Caroline Weir assisted. So the penalty was pretty straightforward. Weir stepped up with absolute ease, and I think when Olga is not on the pitch, I think it's Weir that is taking the penalties. Now, I mean, I'm not sure if Brune would have been on the pitch had she taken it or not, but I think the pecking order goes with Olga, Weir, and then Brune maybe, or maybe Tere, because she has taken some as well in the past. So that seems to be the pecking order. Weir straight business steps up and puts it away. Then I think the second goal is a bit interesting one because in the lead up to that goal as well, there was a lot of combination in the central areas right outside the box. We were like, it was Linda Caicedo, it was Weir, it was whoever was playing on the wide areas would come down narrow. It was Redondo also dropping slightly, and there were these cute, tidy exchanges right in front of the box, which kept the opposition on the toes. With Levante with their back five had to step out to close that passing lane, and with that opened up more spaces to make those runs in behind, and that is what happened in the second goal as well. There was this cute little combination between Alba Redondo and Caroline Weir, and Caroline Weir played a tidy little ball in behind, and Redondo just put it away. Really, really tidy goal, and I really enjoyed those combinations in the central areas. But yeah, before we get to what Levante did and how they scored their goal, what were your thoughts on our second goal? Because the first one was basically a penalty. What was your thoughts on that?
Well, just a quick note. I like to say that Redondo assisted Weir in the first goal because she won that
Who won the
penalty.
penalty? Yeah.
But yeah, just and second goal. Listen, aside from that, whole combination in the middle, which was I loved it. I replayed it over and over again. But it started from Froen, I think from the left side, and so we moved like quickly from the left, and then like we kinda went, okay, so we'll switch towards the right. So it was Terek like switching the sides of the play, like with the ball carrying it to the other side, and like she passed it to the right. The player, I'm not sure, I think it was Shay who received it there. She wasn't wide, she was in the half space, and I think there, and she just cut in, and that's when the whole sequence started. And I was like, okay, so we started from the left, and we were like, okay, we'll switch the whole play to the right, but suck, we're not even doing that, so we're going through the middle. And we'll show you the shape of Levante, how they were doing. But basically, the only way, and like the only open play goal that happened was from that middle, and it made a lot of sense when you look at Levante's shape, because their shape was, yeah, 5-4-1, but how that like second line was positioned is that they had two and two on the side. So like the middle, if you play it right, if you play it quickly, like we like transitioning from the left to the right to well, kind of to the right to the middle quickly, like to trick them. That's like the like the safest way that we could get a shot, that we could create danger through the middle if we trick them. So yeah, and that's exactly how the goal happened. And it was also a back heel by Weir there. So her assist was great, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, this is like one of the two basic concepts of how to break down a deep block or how to break down a five-player block which Levante had. You can either rely on, individual brilliance, and you can position players high up and match them in numbers. So if it's a five-player block, you push five players up so that you have one player positioned in every little space between their players, and try to take things from there. But the risk in that is if you lose the ball, you have committed five players to on their back line. And if you lose the ball, that creates an opportunity for transition, and there's a lot of space for the opposition. So if they're good at it, you are pretty much screwed at the back because you don't have many players defending. The other thing that you can do. And this is where, players like Toletti, players like Loipos are important in helping us to break down these sort of blocks. Neither of them were on the pitch in this game at this point, but this is what this is where their qualities shine basically, is moving the ball around quickly. Because when you're playing with a back five sort of block, you try to keep it narrow, you try to keep it tight, so that you don't offer spaces in between for runs in behind or for the players receiving in front of you. And for doing that, the block moves along the side or moves wherever the ball goes. So when you switch play, the entire block has to move from one side to the other. And while doing that, that is where the gaps emerge. And I think that is what we did. We made them shift sides from one side to the other. Their 5-4 block, the two lines, defense and midfield. And that is where we generated space. That is where we found players in the middle combining and then creating that goal. But our goals were pretty much straightforward, out of textbook. But I really enjoyed Levante's goal. Not the fact that we conceded another from a set piece and we cannot defend set piece, but their corner routine seemed very fun, to be honest. And we have a screenshot for what they were doing on that goal. And honestly, like I replayed that sequence a few times to just see where each player moved and how they planned it. And it was really fun, like if we concede goals like this to these sort of set piece routines, I'm like, okay, I'll once even like forgive that. But this one was actually like quite interesting to talk about. So here we have Levante's shape on the corner that they scored from. It is very, very interesting. You look at this, they formed a straight line with all the players lining up one behind the other. And number 6, I think it's Paula Fernandez, who is standing right outside the box, just in case they play some sort of cutback or whatever. But they have 4-5 players in the box who are lined up all in a line, and that puts us in a very tough situation because we have one player at the near post. I'll quickly mark that. We have one player here at the near post protecting the near post. We have another player here protecting the 6-yard box, right? And then we have this whole bunch. Here, actually, if you think about it, nobody in the white shirt here knows what is going to happen, right? Like it's all a game of anticipation. The Levante players can move in any sort of direction from here, and they can create that space, they can create that free header, and that is what they did. Because anticipating where each player is going to go is not going to happen. You cannot block their run because referee is right here. If you block their run, that could run the risk of being a penalty. We don't want to do that. And that is what happened when the corner was taken. All Levante players went in different directions. One attacked the near post, one attacked the far post, and there was a lot of chaos there. And as a result of that, there was space right at the heart of the box here from where the header was scored, and it was completely unmarked because, our players could not anticipate where this movement is going to take each of their players. And honestly, like conceding goals to these sort of routines is still fine. I know that we are not the best set piece defending side at all. I think we are one of the worst, in fact. But this set piece routine was like really fun. I really enjoy well rehearsed set piece routines, and this was one of them. So credit to Levante and credit to this. I hope we get to see this more often from them. These sort of because this takes me back to one set piece routine that France did in uh, one of their qualifiers or friendlies or something a few years back. They formed a whole circle where all of the France players were running in circles near the edge of the box before the corner was taken. And that was it. Like they were just running around in circles near the edge of the box, and the opposition had no idea what they were trying to do. And when the corner was taken, they all attacked different areas. The opposition could not pick which players they have to mark, and that created a big space in the middle. And Wendy Renard scored that goal. That was one of the that set piece went very viral as well about France doing a very interesting sort of routine. So yeah, I mean set pieces are fun. Set pieces are very effective, and especially against us, if you just take a simple corner, that would work. But Levante came up with something brilliant, and kudos to that. I really enjoyed that. What did you make of Levante's goal, or if you want to call it a fake goal, you can, because it was a set piece goal. What did you make of that goal?
Yeah, I actually burst out laughing when we conceded. So yeah, of course we did. Like, why wouldn't we, you know? But one thing from this is that I, because of this routine, our players had to quickly decide who to mark. And it
Yeah,
did look like Shea was with Eva Alonso, who scored the goal scorer. But it was an interesting thing. So Eva Alonso was one of the players who moved towards here. I don't think that this can be seen. Yeah. So like here and okay, so Shay was still with her, okay? But then she quickly moved to the middle. She quickly moved to the middle, and that's exactly when she lost her and she got that header and scored a goal. So yeah, even with this even when the decision is made, like when which player to mark, they were constantly moving, like they were like zigzag, like moving
yeah, there
back and
was
then forwards again. So yeah, it was really hard to keep up, even with your
Yeah,
own marks.
that was the double movement. That is like a
Mm,
typical thing that a lot of players do to lose their markers. And that is what, because if this was any other situation where, a normal set piece routine or a normal corner routine where teams assign players to attack the near post from the get-go or attack the far post from the get-go and keep one or two players around the 6-yard box, this was different from that because a player had to pick one of the players as soon as the corner was taken and track their movement, because if they're already positioned to do that in a normal set piece routine, then that makes the life easier because you can move along with them. Here you have to predict where they are going to go and what they are going to do next and what is in their plans. uh, so yeah, that makes life even more difficult for the defending side, and that is why I love set pieces. Like there is so much room to be creative and be innovative, and it just helps the fact that we are not good at defending set pieces. So even if it's a mediocre routine, it looks really good against us. But yeah, honestly, quite frustrated that we conceded another set piece goal, but the routine was quite interesting. So half a brownie point for Levante, I guess. But yeah, let's move on. I think this is where the game went to die. We went into the halftime with a goal lead. Uh, and I think that is where in the second half we decided that we are just going to protect this lead and see the game out. Because getting 3 points is of vital importance, and we did that at the end of the day. But with not much to discuss in the second half, which was, we had some subs. The subs did not impact the game either. I think the subs came on with the intention of protecting the lead, because we lost a lot of pace. We lost a lot of that spark sort of in attack, that swift movement of the ball in attack. We were moving the ball slowly. We were okay with not penetrating their box a lot, and I think that was part of the strategy from Toril to sort of go defensive and sort of keep this scoreline and maintain this goal difference as well. But I think in the first half, when the game was flowing, it was interesting to see what Levante were doing. Kanita, I know you have some pointers on that. You can take us through that. Levante were, as we discussed before, Levante were in a 5-4-1 shape, and it was quite interesting with the way they were defending and the way they were trying to force turnovers, and how we dealt with that, and what was our counter to their strategy in this game in the first half was also quite interesting. So yeah, Kanita, you can guide us through the next screenshot where it shows how Levante were trying to defend against us.
Yeah, so this is the first screenshots I have, like two. The other one is like a more specific zoomed in action, but this is like the basic shape that Levante had and that I mentioned beforehand when I was talking about our open play goals. So yeah, so basically their shape was, well, yeah, 4-5-1, and this is the second line that I talked about. So there's second line of four players. These are two, and these are the other two players. So they were spread out like that, two versus two, to, well, create on the wide areas, to create this numerical advantage on the wide areas, and we really couldn't do anything. So it was always like four against two, and in this exact situation we had three. So, and you'd think, she doesn't have many options. Maybe she could pass to Linda something, but no, she actually tried to pass it forward here to Angel Dal. She didn't make it. It was a really, I mean, it went through. These two players were onto Linda, but still, it doesn't matter. It was, she is under a lot of pressure, so she sees these two players directly in front of her. She knows that they will close in on both her and Linda, and depending on where she decides. So she just tries to get it through. She manages to get that pass by a teeny bit, like she misses those players by just teeny bit when it goes like between them. And yeah, Angel doesn't make it. It had to be a strong pass, and it's a goal kick for them. So yeah, this is how they did on the other side as well. But obviously we couldn't, the screenshot for that side in the first half weren't good. So yeah, they were doing that on both flanks, and they were closing us in. They I will just show the other screenshots to make it a bit more clearer what the about the numerical advantage they were doing. So yeah, here you had Shay just running in into the frame, and Linda was already here for some time. She was trying to decide what to do, and she is running in. And as you can see, they still have this numerical advantage. So they have 4 against 2 now, with 4 against 3 in the last screenshot. But now it's 4 against 2, and there's not much to do. Maybe a player will come through here or something, but not enough time, too many players to go through. So what happens in this particular sequence is Linda just decides to carry the ball inside, and then Derek comes into the frame, which obviously she's not inside, and she gets there and she shots from a distance from around here, and it's but yeah, this is they did this a lot. They were closing us, and there wasn't much to do on the wide areas. They made us panic a lot, like Shayla did a lot, and it's normal. It was normal. So that's why I said the goal that happened was like the only way we could have created danger, and we did. So
Yeah, I think I would like to add on to these. So on the first screenshot, I would like to highlight the team shape because it is very evident in that first screenshot. So uh, I'll quickly do this. So this is what we've been talking about, the 5-4-1 shape. Basically, this is their back line of five, and this basically these players are their line of four. And this is the thing, you know, You see here that this is the space that we were talking about before as well, this whole space, that there is a lot of space in the middle between these two players on either side. Now, what they were trying to do is force us in these wide areas as soon as the ball goes in these wide areas here to, either Linda or Shea or anyone on this wide, on this flanks. They would press us and they would force us into decision, and they would press us in a way where they cut off our passing options some way. So this direct option to Angeldal was not there. She could have played the ball to Linda, but Linda was being closed down by two players. So this is the numerical superiority that they were trying to create on the flanks. And in this case, they forced the rush decision from Sheila and created a turnover. They got back the ball. In the second one, is where we try to exploit this space that I've just highlighted. This space in the middle between their line of two, in that four on the wider areas. This is the space where we exploit on the second screenshot. So if we go to the second screenshot, I'll quickly show what happened in that as well. That is what, that is how our goal came, as well, as you mentioned, that it came by exploiting the space between their, basically the lines of 2 and the banks of 5 and 4. So here Linda has the ball. She holds it for a moment, as you mentioned, and with Shayla running along, she carries this player along with her. This player is trying to close down Linda and at the same time block her passing option to Shay. So she's doing a double job. She's trying to block this passing lane and she's trying to force her down as well to make a decision. Now, since there are two ways to tackle a numerical superiority situation on the flanks. You either commit more players and even it out, or you rely on technical superiority of your players to beat one or two players and create that yard of space. And Linda is is a fabulous player, is very technically gifted. So she just carries the ball as soon as she's being closed down, and as soon as she notices that Shay has made this run and carried one of the players with her, she makes this run in the middle. Now again, these two, they have committed, Levante have committed these two here. So she, as soon as Linda makes a run into this space, she knows that there is ample amount of space for somebody in from our midfield to make a run and be played through, and for the ball to be laid off to them so that they can take a shot or create another opportunity. And that is what happened. She laid the ball in that area, in that zone of space, and Tere runs into it and takes the shot, which forces a good save from the keeper, but it doesn't go in. But this is the sort of chances that we were creating, because Levante's idea of defending in this 5-4-1 was to sort of force our wide players along the flanks and force them into making a decision, or commit them into making quick decisions by having four players uh, pushing towards any flank at a given point of time as soon as the ball goes there. And this would have worked. This worked for a lot of times. But also the problem with that was, since they were not moving their line of four in a synchronized manner, because the horizontal spacing between these players was slightly off. I think that they paid the price of that in that second goal that we scored. So, you know, every tactical setup, every tactical idea has this pros and cons, and execution matters a lot. And in this case, their idea was novel. It caused us a lot of problems. It caused us issues in combining on the flanks, especially, and we had to come back. We had to come through the middle a lot more. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the space that they left in the middle proved to be quite costly for them, as we scored from one of those positions. And yeah, that is basically the gist of it, because breaking down a 5-4-1 block is not an easy task. And yeah, I think Levante did quite well, honestly, to be honest. So yeah, that was it about Levante's strategy in the first half. Then in the second half, we were not bothered about making those risky passes or carrying the ball into danger zone to sort of create those opportunities, because already had the lead. And honestly, I think uh, we were trying to do that ever since we went 2-0 up. It was fortunate that, it was unfortunate or fortunate, whatever you want to say, that Levante got a set piece and they scored from that. Otherwise, we were going to do this, I think, right from the point where we got a 2-goal cushion. So yeah, I think this is about it in terms of discussion in this game from a tactical point of view. I think the next part should be us talking about a player, because she is a new player. This was her second start, and I feel like there were certain improvements in her game that we already saw, and she proved to be quite useful, quite handy in this game. Uh, and as she's developing more synergy with her teammates, as she gets more minutes, I think she can be a vital part of the squad, and she can help us in this tough schedule that is coming up next, with a lot of games as well. I'm obviously talking about Yasmim. She was very involved in the game this time around. She was involved in the attack. She was getting higher up in the pitch. She was attempting more crosses this time around. She had 8 crosses in this game, which is the most by any Madrid player. And yeah, I mean, it was nice to see that she was proactive in attack rather than sticking back and not pushing as much up front, or not trying to overlap in the as in the previous game. But yeah, those are signs of improvement, which I'm very happy about. What were your insights on her game against Levante?
I said 12 minutes. She completed her first cross for Real Madrid. Just a quick note, she completed 2 out of those 8 crosses. And yeah, so the way that we had to cross, like the only like way to cross, like from like kind of midfield area, like it wasn't really easy to send in a cross from the you know winger area. But yeah, so most of her crosses came like from deeper position anyway, and because her crosses are a bit stronger anyway. She had that range to get it inside, and yeah, she completed 2 of them. First one in the 12th minute. I'm sorry, I didn't know the second one. I apologize, but the first one is monumental, and like the left back and crosses, and yeah, just that. And yeah, she did feel. Seem a bit more relaxed, like I said in her previous game, which was her debut. She was a bit lost, and she was also a bit frustrated whenever she would fail a pass, or the ball would um cross the line, and it was apparent frustration. However, in this game she was much more relaxed, and yeah, she did understand her teammates a bit better on the touchline, especially. Was She handled it decently, with going with the Atenea and with the midfielder there, and it was better. It was more relaxed. If she wasn't, then that touchline situations would have all ended in throw-ins or whatnot. I don't know, but she handled it well. She was looking around. She was like following where her teammates were, and yeah, I did think that it was more like a stage fright, in the first game anyway. And she did come mid-season, and also incorporate in the squad like very recently, before her debut. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that the improvement is already seen in her second game, in her second start as well. And just quick thing to add. Once again, he subbed on Olga, and he didn't sub off Yasmim, so they were playing. Olga was as a left winger, and Yasmin stayed on the left back. So yeah, I don't know if this is a thing we'll have going on whenever Yasmin starts. We just have to put in Olga, wherever, and if Yasmin has to play, but Olga has to play as well. I don't know what this is, but yeah, weird.
Yeah, the thing that struck with me about Yasmin's performance in this game was that there was slight variety in her crosses as well. There were some low-driven ones, there were some lifted ones, there were some with a lot of finesse on them. So, she's trying everything out, and she's keen on being proactive in attack, which is a big positive for me, because that is my biggest concern, that in Brazil as well, a lot of their attacks were forced down or channeled down the right hand side, and Yasmin was sort of playing that conservative sort of fullback who's not pushing as high up. And I did not want that, because we have traditionally not played that way with our fullbacks, and I don't expect Toril to change that. So, it's good to see that she's adapting. But yeah, about that Olga thing, I think, you know, I'm not sure what is there. I don't think she'll ever get a proper rest. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to continue. I think it was just a one game thing, maybe. But yeah, let's
2 game
keep an
thing.
eye on that. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, quite quite happy with how Yasmin is progressing at the moment, and hopefully we get to see her a lot more as the schedule, becomes more hectic and we have a lot more games coming up. So yeah, I think that brings us to the end of this video slash podcast. To all the viewers who have been supporting us, who have commented on the previous Champions League draw video as well. Uh, thanks a lot. First of all, thanks for interacting. Thanks for watching the videos. We are, as we have mentioned, we are going to be having a lot more guests in the future. We are planning stuff already for the Arsenal game that is coming up in March. That's going to be a big one, because I saw a tweet that said our schedule for that game does not have a stadium yet. So, no, not speculating anything, but if Alfredo Di Stefano is not mentioned there, who knows? Like,
It
maybe
is.
this
I'm
it hasn't
sorry,
been.
it is.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Okay, I missed that then. I was living in delusion. But
I checked it back like yesterday maybe, and yeah, I was there. Oh.
ah, shucks. Okay, no worries about that, but it's still going to be a big game, and there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that, because Arsenal has a very dedicated fan base. Let's say they have a very passionate fan base who follow their women's team really well. So, we are already planning stuff for that. There will be a preview pod. There will be uh, guests on that. There will be a match day review as well for that game, and that will also have some guests. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Please keep sharing the videos. It helps a lot. Please share with uh, your friends who are also women's football fans, because there's also going to be a general women's football playlist on the channel as well, where we talk about different stuff, where we talk about transfer rumors, where we talk about latest happenings as well in the future. So yeah, we are doing a lot of things, and the last episode was also on Spotify. We are slowly figuring that shit out as well for you guys. So yeah, please keep supporting to us. Please keep sharing, and uh, subscribing to the channel goes a long way for us. So yeah, please do that. And thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the kind words that you guys have given us, and your support means a lot to us. We'll keep doing this till the end. And until next time, Hala Madrid.
A la Madrid.